Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices, and we'll look at the S&P and the Nasdaq and also a couple of Nasdaq stocks as well. I want to start on the hourly chart here because this is where we've been sort of working through on an intraday basis. So from this low down here, we've been counting wave 1 and 2 here, and then from wave 2 we've been looking for 5 waves for wave 3, so wave 1 and 2 here, all the way up for 3, back for 4, and up for 5 for 3 here, and ABC for 4, and then up for 5 here. Now, this little area here, I just want to talk about strategy really. So the move up here can be counted as green wave 5, and then we have a top in play, and then we would be moving down. And if we're going to move down, then you'd want the 2,800 as your retested resistance, and then put that green line under here for your trigger, and if it's breached then you're on your way at that point. Okay. The other point here is that if we've got wave, calling this wave 5 here, it could also be called wave 1 here, and then an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here, and then move up from here in terms of wave 3, 4 and 5. So that's what it all really boils down to in terms of trading this. So taking this top out here would be the long trade, and would be looking for, if you get support on 2830, which is the top of group 1. Group 1 is 10, 20 and 30 of the number 8 here, 800, then would reach the 250, the 2850 area here, the midpoint, the 50. So that's what it really boils down to. We can have a look at the bigger picture, and we will. I just don't know if this is wave 1 here and wave 2 and then 3 and 4 and 5, or we have wave 5 here. So we need a strategy for that, and that is buying a new high here or starting to sell new lows here. In terms of selling new lows here, there's a couple of things that we need to look at. If we take this low here and this high here, for instance, then the target, our first target to the downside, would be this space here. Okay. There is more downside potential as well, and we would need to look at the particular structure as this is moving down through here. Okay, so in terms of this moving down, I want to have a look at a few counts here. If we're talking a bullish count, then we would move down to this point here and then move up from that point. We can view that too, but I'll go back to the bearish count on the daily chart, as you know, which is here. So this can be wave 3 here with an A wave here, an A and a B and a C wave here for wave C of B here. So that top that we're talking about can be in place, or we can push a little bit higher here. So we now have a strategy to handle that. Okay, the downside strategy, the downside here can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here for wave 4, or the bullish strategy for this, if we can just come into this area here, would be looking at this here as wave 3 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 1 here, back for wave 2 here, and then wave 1, and then coming back for wave 2 here. And this here, if that was going to be the case, would be in 3 waves to this point. So an A and a B and a C wave to this point here. Now, if we get 5 waves to the 61.8%, let's just say that is the top for the time being. Yes, it may go higher, and we can trade that up. But from here to here, if we get 3 waves to this point, then we know that it's corrective and we can go to the upside. However, if we get 5 waves to this point here, to the 61.8% mark roughly, then we know that we're in for a bigger bearish picture from this point. Now, the bigger bearish picture can be that daily chart I've just shown, or it can also be this picture here. So this picture here is wave 3 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 4, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 1, and then an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave. So instead of coming all the way back down here for this wave 4 over here, we can view this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and A, B, and C. And this is not so silly because this is what the Nasdaq can be counted as, and also too some of the Asian markets like Australia can be counted like this too, having that April low here, early April on, well, I think the Australian one's on the 4th of April, the Nasdaq is on the 3rd of April, same as this one here, of course. So this is possible as well. So we just need to work through this. It's not that it's really going to affect our trading, because we should be able to get on the right side of the market at the right time. Going over to the Nasdaq. Once again here too, we've got the same intraday pattern to the upside. Don't worry about that wave 2 too much here, but what we're focused on is wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So having wave 4 back here, that's all fine, but I don't know if I should call this as wave 5 top in here. That's my question here. I mean, technically I can, as such, and you know, we talked about this, I think we talked about this before here, so we can either have this as wave 1 here and then moving back for wave 2 here, top in place here, or we go up from wave 2, of course we got wave 1 and 2 here, and then we go up for wave 3 here, and so on. So I also mentioned too that we could go long above this top and short here. So if you've gone short here, that's fine. Then you need to protect that position there. So if we just copy that, I mean, it's better to take some profit here actually. And then keep a stop somewhere. In terms of just a simple trend line can do the trick, but it's got to find support on that trend line to get out, not just touch it. Do you know what I mean? It's got to, with trend lines, they are trend lines, the market will move up to them, move back, then move up through it, then come back and check again here. So once it checks here, then you know that it's testing for support at that particular point. So just allow that to run. But on 7,400 here, we definitely want to be on the long side from there. In fact, I'll leave all that. I'll just leave it and move on. So look, we've got the same problem with the S&P 500 as we do with the Nasdaq here. Okay, I think there's more upside because when I look at, say, Twitter, for example, here, I can see that, well, you can see that we talked about the correction. We talked about this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Then we talked about an A wave and a B wave and a C wave coming down here. I got most of it right, but we still didn't get that. I still didn't get the other leg down here. But this move up through here is third. This is like a fourth wave. This is a daily chart, obviously. Well, you probably can't see the price there very well for this, so bring that in there. Sorry about that. This does appear to be a fourth wave here, so I do see that we've got this move up here to go for Twitter. Let's have a look at Amazon. With Amazon as well, I think there's more upside here as well. We can always expect a correction at number 18 in this case. So I've got this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here, but there's still this structure in here of wave 1, ABC for wave 2, because I can see we've got 1 and 2 in here and 3 and 4 and 5. So this is just the third wave from here to here. So the fourth wave can pull back to the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree, a bit lower in here, and then have another wave up here. So we're still one wave short here. How far this goes, that's another story, but it's still one wave short in this instance here. So I'll just move that into that space there. What else is worth looking at? What about Alphabet? Okay, so yeah, I wanted to talk about this as well here. With Alphabet here, we can look at this this pattern that's occurred here, the same as in the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. In this view as well. This is the alternative count that I was showing in the S&P 500. So wave 1 here, wave 2 here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 3, back for wave 4 and up for wave 5. So in this case here, we can look for, I'm not quite sure if a top's in place here, it may be, or we may have one more, but the main point here is that we're going to see, once it starts, an ABC correction coming back into this space here. And this is why I think that this is kind of the correct count. I don't think we looked at the Nasdaq fully, did we? I didn't know. So with the Nasdaq here, let's go to the daily chart here. Squash this out here. I've changed this a little bit here, so I think this is quite a good fit, really. So with wave 3 here, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, then wave 1 and 2 here, and then calling all of this up as a nice third wave, fourth wave here, and then a fifth wave moving up here. Once again, we don't quite know if the top's in play here, but we can be looking to pull back in to this space here. This would line up with the European and some of the Asian markets as well. This particular count here, I don't think the 4-hour chart here. Yeah, same thing here as well. So slight variation, because before we had this also as an A and a B and a C and a D and an E here for wave 4. But I think this is a better count, looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then the whole 5-wave structure up through here. I mean, it doesn't make a big deal. It still leaves us with where we are now, and what we're trying to solve here at the moment is, do we have this top in place here as wave 5 of 1 here, or do we have 1 and 2 here and 3, 4 and 5 coming up to here, and then when we get to 500 we'd still have a corrective pattern here as well. And even if I was wrong again, we would still wouldn't miss anything, because we would be long on the trading levels here as well. So we'd be long here. So we're not losing anything. We're just trying to get this sort of right. So it's not going to affect our trading as such. But yeah, I mean, also with this as well, if this drops lower from here, then you need to be thinking about on the short side from here as well. But at this stage, it does look corrective in this space here, and it has pulled back to its right space, so it can certainly move up. So buy new highs, and if Friday closes strong, then Monday's going to follow through on that as well, and then we can look at this particular structure being 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So in a nutshell, trading from 400 up to 500 over the next 2 sessions is a reasonable trade. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. It's always much appreciated, and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.